There's a paradox that's destroying an entire generation of disciplined people. People who wake up early, go to the gym, work in their own businesses, study at night. People who do everything right, and yet they are self-destructing. It's not a lack of effort, it's being in too much of a hurry. In Japan, there is a concept called MA. MA means the space between things, the silence between musical notes, the emptiness that makes music possible. Westerners focus on the notes. The Japanese understand that without silence you only have noise. Perhaps your life now is nothing but noise. You want your body to change in 30 days, your company to triple in size in 6 months, your relationship to be perfect immediately. Or maybe you want to get rich quickly and easily, and this rush isn't accelerating you, it's paralyzing you. Taoists have a saying that might sound nonsensical: hurry up slowly. Some sources say that this is actually a proverb that came from Latin, but the concept behind this phrase is totally aligned with Taoist thought, which values action without excessive effort and the calmness of knowing that if we are in motion, things will happen. However, when you hear this phrase, it sounds contradictory. That's because you still haven't understood the game you're playing. Today you'll hear Matthew's story, a guy who was on the right track but running in the wrong direction, and how a psychologist of Eastern origin saved his life by teaching him something that goes against what most people believe about success. This story applies both to those who are already building something and suffer from the anxiety of wanting to speed things up, and to those who haven't built anything yet and want to change their lives in 2 months. They are different contexts, but the logic behind them is the same. Before we get to the video, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, leave a like below and comment. What area of your life do you feel the most anxiety about quick results? Body, money, career, relationships? If you feel comfortable, comment below. Now let's go to the video. Chapter 1. The man who had everything and nothing at the same time. Matthew was 28 years old and building something. A tech startup with 3 partners, $10,000 in monthly revenue growing 15% every month. He woke up at 5 a.m., went to the gym at 5:30 a.m., went to the office at 7 a.m., and worked until 8 p.m. He was dating a beautiful woman, had a decent apartment, and an organized life. Anyone from the outside would look at him and think, I wish I had his life. But what about inside? Matthew was falling apart. Every morning at the gym, he looked in the mirror and saw the same body from 3 months ago. Same body fat percentage, same muscle definition. He was training hard, eating right, but the mirror wasn't changing, and that was eating him up inside. At work, every results meeting was torture. 15% growth, it should be 30%. 10,000 in revenue. Competitors were already at 50,000. He saw startups exploding in 6 months, influencers becoming millionaires in 1 year. Why was it taking so long for him? At night, when he got home, his girlfriend Emily would ask him how his day was. He would explode. Another day where nothing got done. The company is slow, my body isn't changing. It feels like I'm running on sand. Emily tried to calm him down. Matthew, you're growing up. Look where you were last year. Last year doesn't matter, Emily. What matters is where I should be now. He didn't understand, but he had developed a destructive pattern. I checked the company's metrics countless times a day. He told me on a Tuesday because he thought he was exaggerating and wanted to prove to himself that he wasn't so bad. It was worse. He was constantly checking the Instagram accounts of entrepreneurs who, in his opinion, were ahead. Each post was a stab in the heart. A 25-year-old with an imported car. A 23-year-old girl with a 7-figure company. He would look and think, I'm behind, I'm losing out. At night, lying in bed, my brain wouldn't shut off. I kept calculating, if I grow 15% every month for 18 months, I'll reach X. But if I manage to increase it to 25%, I'll reach Y. And if I work 3 more hours a day, Emily would wake up at 2 a.m. and he would be there staring at the ceiling, breathing heavily, sweating profusely. Matthew, didn't you sleep? I fell asleep. I just woke up. It's the 4th night this week. Everything's fine, Emily. I'm just thinking about some company matters. But all was not well, and Emily knew it. Chapter 2. The conversation that changed everything. It was a Friday night. Matthew arrived home and found Emily sitting at the kitchen table, waiting for him. No cell phone, no TV on, just waiting. His stomach tightened. That silence meant serious conversation. "Sit here, Matthew." He sat down. "I love you, you know that, right?" His heart raced. When someone starts with "I love you," what comes next usually hurts. "I see you as the father of my children. I see a future with you. But there's something I need to tell you, and you need to really listen." She took a deep breath. "You're killing yourself. Not physically, but on the inside. You haven't slept properly in months. You can't enjoy anything because you're always 3 steps ahead in the future. We go out to dinner and you're checking company metrics. We watch a movie and you're calculating how much time you're wasting. Matthew, you're here but you're not present." The words hurt because they were true. "And the worst part is that you're succeeding. The company is growing, you're healthy, your life is going well. But you don't see it. You only see what isn't there yet. And that's destroying you." Matthew tried to argue. "Emily, I need to maintain this intensity. If I relax, I stop growing, that's how—" "No!" Emily slammed her hand on the table. It was the first time he'd seen her raise her voice like that. "That's not how it works, Matthew. You're not speeding up, you're stalling. Your anxiety isn't moving you forward, it's holding you back." Silence. "I'm going to ask you something, and you need to do it for me. You need to seek help. This isn't weakness. It's taking care of yourself. Because I want to build a life with you, but not with this version of you that can't breathe." Matthew looked into her eyes and saw something that broke him. Fear. Emily was afraid of losing him. That night he didn't sleep again, but this time he wasn't calculating growth. He was looking at his own life and finally seeing what Emily saw. A man was running so fast that he was falling behind. Chapter 3. The Psychologist Who Didn't Seem Like a Psychologist. Monday, 2 p.m., Matthew was sitting in a waiting room. Emily had found a psychologist, Dr. Kenji Tanaka, a second-generation Japanese immigrant in the United States, trained in clinical psychology but with training in Zen philosophy. When the door opened, Matthew expected to find a guy in a suit, notebook, that clinical vibe. What he saw was different. Dr. Tanaka was about 50 years old, with grey hair, wearing a simple shirt and jeans. The room didn't have a diploma on the wall, but it did have a bonsai plant on the table and a picture with a hand-painted black circle. "Matthew, nice to meet you." They sat down. Dr. Tanaka didn't pick up the notebook. He just stood there, looking in silence. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Matthew began to feel uncomfortable. "So, You run." Matthew blinked. "Sorry?" "You run. Not literally, but on the inside. Your body is in that chair, but your mind is already in next week, next month, next year. You're not here." Matthew felt a chill. How did this guy know? "Emily told me a few things on the phone, but I didn't need her to tell me. You arrived 10 minutes early, sat down, and checked your phone 4 times in 3 minutes. You can't stay still." Silence. "Tell me something, Matthew. When was the last time you enjoyed something that was happening in the exact moment it was happening?" Matthew opened his mouth to answer and couldn't. He couldn't remember. You can't remember, can you? Because you live in a state that Buddhists call sankhara dukkha, suffering caused by the constant movement of the mind. You can't be where you are because you're always running towards where you haven't arrived yet. Dr. Tanaka stood up and went to the table, picked up the bonsai. "This tree is 15 years old. Look closely. It's small, isn't it? Do you know how long it takes for a bonsai to be ready?" Matthew shook his head. "Never. A bonsai is never truly finished. And that's precisely what makes it perfect. The person cultivating a bonsai isn't in a hurry for it to grow. They're enjoying the process of growing it." He put the tree back and sat down. "You came here because you're suffering, and the suffering isn't because things aren't going right. It's because you can't enjoy the process of things going right. Your company is growing, but you're not happy. Your body is healthy, but you don't feel good. Your relationship is solid, but you can't enjoy it. Why? Because I haven't yet arrived where I want to be. And when you get there, what will happen?" Matthew thought. "I'll be able to relax. I'll be able to enjoy myself." "No, Matthew. When you get there, you'll create a new goal, And you'll keep running. The problem isn't where you are. It's that you don't know how to stop running. The words landed like a bomb. Dr. Tanaka continued. Let me explain what's happening in your brain. Are you familiar with the amygdala? Matthew shook his head. It's the part of your brain responsible for detecting threats. In our ancestors, it served to identify lions, snakes, enemy tribes. Nowadays, it identifies other things such as delays. When you compare your progress with that of other people, when you feel you are losing time, your amygdala triggers the same alarm it would if you saw a predator. Your body goes into survival mode. Cortisol floods your bloodstream. Your sympathetic nervous system takes over. You're in a constant state of fight or flight. And do you know what happens when you live in that state 24 hours a day? Matthew was listening to every word. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, begins to shut down. You stop making strategic decisions and start making reactive ones. You stop seeing opportunities and only see threats. Your creativity dies. Your problem-solving ability diminishes. And ironically, you become slower. Your haste is slowing you down. Chapter 4. Wu Wei, Action Without Hurry. The Taoists have a concept that will sound crazy to you, Dr. Tanaka said. Wu Wei, it means non-action or effortless action. But it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing something without forcing it. Think of a river. The river never stops flowing, but have you ever seen a river in a hurry? The river flows naturally, goes around rocks, finds the path of least resistance. And yet, over time, the river cuts mountains in half. Your mistake is thinking that to go faster you need more force. In fact, the more force you exert, the more resistance you create. It's like trying to hold water tightly. The more you squeeze, the more it slips away. Matthew leaned forward. But then what do I do? Stop working hard? Stop having goals? No, stop confusing excessive movement with progress. Let me show you something. Dr. Tanaka opened the drawer and took out 2 glasses and a pitcher of water. First glass. He filled it slowly, the water falling gently. Look, no rush, no anxiety, just a steady flow. In 30 seconds, the glass was full. Second glass. He tilted the pitcher in one go, water gushing out. Half of it spilled out of the glass, scattering across the table. More force, more speed, more anxiety. The result? Waste, and the glass is only half full. Matthew understood immediately. Your company, your body, your relationship, it's all a cup, and you're pouring water so hard that half of it is spilling out. You work 14 hours, but only 6 are productive. You train hard, but your body can't recover. You're with Emily, but your mind is at the office. Wu Wei isn't about doing less, it's about stopping forcing. It's about flow instead of struggle. Chapter 5. MA, the Power of Empty Space. Now, Dr. Tanaka pointed to the picture on the wall, the black circle. Do you know what this is? A circle? It's a Enso, a Zen circle painted in a single brush stroke. Notice, it's not perfect. It has thicker and thinner parts, and it's not completely closed. Matthew looked closer. It was true, there was a small opening in the circle. Do you know why it's not closed? Because it represents the perfection of imperfection, the emptiness that allows movement. Zen masters understand something you don't yet understand. Empty space is just as important as filled space. In Japan, we call this the interval, the silence between musical notes, the pause between breaths, the space between words. Westerners focus on what is present. The Japanese understand that without absence, presence has no meaning. He picked up his cell phone and played a song. It was a classical piano composition. Listen, what makes this music beautiful? The grades? No, the silences between them. If I take away the silences... He played another version, notes playing rapidly without pause. It becomes noise. The notes are the same, but without the ma, without space, there is no music. Matthew felt something click. Your life is the same. You've filled every second with productivity, goals, action. There's no ma. There's no space to think, to process, to grow. And that's why, even doing everything, you're not getting anywhere. It's just noise. Chapter 6. The 3 Principles of Active Patience. Dr. Tanaka took a blank sheet of paper and drew 3 circles. I'm going to teach you 3 principles. If you apply them, your life will change. Not because you'll work less, but because you'll stop wasting 60% of your energy fighting the process. First principle, Shoshin, beginner's mind. Do you know? Shoshi. It means beginner's mind. It's the concept of maintaining the curiosity and openness of someone who is starting out, even after years of doing the same thing. Your problem, Matthew, is that you want to be an expert fast. You want to master the business in 6 months, have the perfect body in 3 months, be an amazing boyfriend immediately. But mastery doesn't work that way. A martial arts master with 40 years of training still calls himself a student because he understands that there is always more to learn. And this mindset, this patience with one's own development, is what allows for real growth. When you have Shoshin, you stop comparing where you are to where others are, because you understand that your path is unique. Your timeline is yours. Matthew wrote, Shoshin. Stop comparing, enjoy and learn. Second principle, Kaizen, imperceptible improvement. Kaizen is a Japanese concept meaning continuous improvement of 1%, not dramatic bursts of progress, improvements so small they are almost invisible, but compounded over time, they become transformation. You want your company to grow 100% in 6 months. You know what happens? You create impossible expectations, get frustrated, burn out your team, make desperate decisions, and ironically, you grow less. Now imagine you accept growing 1% per week. Sounds like little, right? But 1% per week over a year is 67% growth. And the best part, it's sustainable. Your team doesn't burn out, you don't burn out, and you enjoy the process because you're not rushing, you're flowing. Same principle in the body. You want to lose 10 kilos in 2 months. Result, unsustainable diet, stressed body, deregulated metabolism. You lose 5 kilos but gain 8 back. Now imagine losing the 5 kilos per week. Slow, tedious, almost imperceptible. But in 6 months you've lost 12 kilos and your body has adapted. It's permanent. Matthew sensed resistance. But Dr. Tanaka, I see people who explode quickly. Startups that go from 0 to millions in months. People who change their bodies in 12 weeks. Tanaka replied, and you see these same people breaking down as quickly as they rose. Rapid growth without a solid foundation is a sandcastle. The first wave knocks everything down. Matthew noted, Kaizen, 1% sustainable improvement is better than 100% unsustainable explosion. Third principle, Kyu no Sekai, enjoying the emptiness. The last principle is the most difficult, Kyu no Sekai, the world of emptiness. It is the ability to find peace, not only in progress, but in the absence of progress. There will be weeks when your company doesn't grow, days when you train and see no results, moments when you feel like you're standing still, and those moments, those voids, are where real growth happens. Think of an elite athlete. He doesn't grow during training. He grows during rest. Training breaks down muscle, but it's rest that rebuilds stronger muscle. If he trains every day without rest, he doesn't get stronger. He gets weaker. Your mistake is thinking that every moment needs to be productive, but growth isn't linear, it's a rhythm. Expansion and contraction, action and rest, progress and integration. When you learn to enjoy the emptiness, the moments when it seems like nothing is happening, you stop panicking. And ironically, those nothing moments are when your subconscious is processing, integrating, preparing for the next leap. Matthew wrote, Kyu no Sekai, growth happens in rest, not just in action. Dr. Tanaka looked at him. Matthew, these 3 principles together create what I call active patience. It's not passive patience, sitting and waiting for things to happen. It's acting consistently, but without despair. It's working hard, but without anxiety. It's having goals, but without an unhealthy attachment to the results. And when you operate like that, something magical happens. You stop wasting energy on anxiety and use 100% of it for the real work. You get faster by slowing down. Chapter 7. The 30 Days of Mental Re-Education. Matthew left the doctor's office with 3 tasks. Task 1, the ritual of presence, 5 minutes daily. Every day, as soon as you wake up, you will sit in silence for 5 minutes. It's not guided meditation. It's not special breathing. It's just sitting and doing nothing. Your mind will scream. It will list everything you need to do. Let it scream. You just sit. These 5 minutes teach your brain that the world won't end if you stop, that not everything is urgent, and gradually your amygdala will begin to turn off the constant emergency alarm. Matthew thought it was ridiculous. 5 minutes wouldn't change anything, but he promised to try. Task 2, the gratitude diary of the process. Every night before bed, you're going to write down 3 things, not results you achieved, actions you took. You're not going to write, the company grew 2%, but you will write, I worked 6 hours focused. You're not going to write, I lost 0.5 kilo, but you will write, I went to the gym even though I was tired. This trains your brain to value the process, not just the result. And when you value the process, you don't need an immediate result to feel good. You're already doing well because you're doing what needs to be done. Task 3, the 48-hour rule, comparison detoxification. For 30 days, you're going to delete Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, any social media platform where you compare yourself to others. It's not forever, it's for 30 days to help you detox. Matthew panicked. But I use these networks to promote the company to... No, Matthew. You use those networks to torture yourself. And in the next 30 days, you're going to learn to measure your progress by your own standards, not by the standards of strangers on the internet. Matthew left the office doubting. 5 minutes sitting down, a gratitude journal. It sounded like cheap self-help, but Emily had asked him to try. So he tried. Day 3, the resistance. Sitting in silence was torture. After 30 seconds, his mind was already screaming, this is a waste of time. You could be checking emails. You could be working. He endured the 5 minutes, but hated every second. The diary entry was worse. I worked 6 hours focused, so what? The company didn't grow. I went to the gym. My body didn't change. It felt pointless. But he continued because he had promised. Day 7, the first breach. 7th day. During the 5 minutes of silence, his mind screamed as always. But this time, for the first time, he realized he was screaming. He was able to observe his thoughts instead of being carried away by them. It was only 10 seconds, but it was different. That night, writing in his diary, he reread the week's entries. I worked focused. I went to the gym. I had a real conversation with Emily without checking my phone. Reading it all together, he saw a pattern. He was doing everything right. He wasn't getting dramatic results, but he was doing everything right. And for the first time in months, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not in results, in consistency. Day 14, the moment of clarity. 2nd week. Matthew was in a meeting with his partners. One of them, Daniel, was panicking. Man, we're growing really slowly. Our competitor is at $50,000 in revenue, and we're still at $10,000. We need to accelerate, do something drastic, I don't know. 2 weeks ago, Matthew would have agreed and gone into despair mode, but something had changed. Daniel, let me ask you something. Did we grow 15% last month? Yes, but did we improve the product? Yes, but are the customers happy? Yes, Matthew, but we're wasting time. While we grow slowly, they burn through $500,000 of investment in ads, and their CAC is unsustainable. I read that yesterday. In 6 months, they'll go bankrupt. And us? We'll be growing at the same pace, but sustainably. Silence in the room. Matthew continued, I spent the last few months desperate because we weren't growing fast enough. And you know what happened? I almost burned us out. I almost made stupid decisions just because I was in a hurry. We're not behind schedule, Daniel. We're on the right track. When he said that, he felt something strange. He believed it. He wasn't feigning confidence. He truly believed it. Day 21, the transformation of the body. 3 weeks. Matthew stepped on the scale for the first time in a month. She lost 2 kilos. A month ago, he would have been furious. Only 2 kilo? A whole month for that? But now he thought differently. 2 kilo without anxiety, 2 kilo without crazy diets, 2 kilo in a sustainable way. And most importantly, he was enjoying the process. He was liking training, not because he was seeing results, but because he had learned to value the act of training. For the first time, he was doing something not for the future result, but for the present pleasure. Perhaps you suffer from the same problem. Instead of enjoying the process, you live anxiously awaiting the result. But learning to enjoy the process is the secret to maintaining consistency and achieving any goal. Day 30. A conversation with Emily. A month after the first consultation, Matthew was lying on the couch with Emily watching a movie, some silly comedy, and he was laughing. Really, totally present. Emily looked at him in the middle of the movie. "You're different." "Different how?" "You're here, really here. Not with your head in the company, not calculating anything, just here with me." Matthew realized it was true. For the first time in months, he was watching a movie without checking his phone, without his mind wandering, without anxiety gnawing at him from the inside. "I think I understand," he said. "Understanding what?" "Life is not a race. It's a river." Emily smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. "I knew you would succeed." The neuroscience of patience. At the next appointment, Matthew was different, calmer, more present. Dr. Tanaka noticed it immediately. "You seem smaller." Matthew rew. "Minor. Your body is less tense, your shoulders are lower, your jaw is relaxed. You literally take up less space because you're no longer in constant defense mode." "Let me explain what happened in your brain this past month." Dr. Tanaka drew a brain on paper. When you live in constant anxiety, your body produces cortisol and adrenaline non-stop. These hormones are useful in emergencies, but destructive when constant. They literally shrink the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. At the same time, your amygdala, the center of fear, becomes hyperactive. You start seeing threats in everything. Slow growth? Threat. Body not changing fast enough? Threat. Competitor growing faster? Threat. And the worst part is your prefrontal cortex, the rational part, the part that makes strategic decisions, goes offline. You literally become dumber when you're anxious. Matthew was absorbing every word. Now, in these last 30 days, you've done something revolutionary for yourself. You've taught your brain that not panicking isn't dangerous, that you can be calm and still be productive. Those 5 minutes of silence every day, you were training your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. Every day you were giving your body a signal: everything is fine, there's no emergency. The gratitude journal of the process. You were reviving your reward system. Before, you only felt good about results. Now you feel good about action. This releases dopamine in the present moment, not just when you achieve goals. You addicted your brain to process, not to results. And deleting social media, you cut off the source of cortisol. Every time you saw someone ahead, your brain would trigger alarms. Without those comparisons, your amygdala began to calm down. The result? Your hippocampus started growing again. Your amygdala shrank. Your prefrontal cortex came back online. You literally have a different brain now. Matthew looked at his own hands. It was true. He felt different. And you know what's craziest, Matthew? Now that you've stopped running in desperation, you're actually accelerating, because 100% of your energy is going to the real work, not to the anxiety. "But there's something I haven't told you yet," Dr. Tanaka said. "A secret that Zen masters took centuries to understand." Matthew leaned forward. "There's a paradox in growth. The more you want something, the more you push it away. The more you relax about something, the faster you achieve it. It's not the law of attraction, it's not magical thinking. It's pure neuroscience." Chapter 8. The Paradox of Accelerated Patience. "Think of two entrepreneurs," Dr. Tanaka said. "They both work 10 hours a day. They are both intelligent. They both have the same idea. Entrepreneur A is desperate, checking metrics every hour, comparing with competitors, panicking when growth slows. He spends 4 out of 10 hours working and 6 hours worrying. Entrepreneur B is calm. He works focused, measures progress weekly, and doesn't compare himself to others. He uses those 10 hours for real work. Who do you think will arrive first? The answer was obvious. But there's more. Entrepreneur A, being in a constant state of stress, makes reactive decisions. He sees a competitor launch a feature and copies it without thinking. He burns money on ads because he's in a hurry. He hires the wrong people because he's desperate. Entrepreneur B, when calm, can think strategically. He sees a competitor doing something and analyzes whether it makes sense for his context. He invests money intelligently. He hires patiently. The result? Entrepreneur B doesn't just arrive first. They arrive with a more solid business. Matthew was beginning to understand. Patience doesn't slow you down, Matthew. Anxiety does. Patience is maximum efficiency. Chapter 9. The 5 Practical Steps to Applying Active Patience. Dr. Tanaka handed Matthew a sheet of paper. You've already begun the journey, but now I'm going to give you the 5 practical steps you'll use for the rest of your life. Step 1. Define process metrics, not just outcome metrics. Stop measuring only where you've arrived. Start measuring what you've done. Not how much the company grew this month, but how many days I worked focused. Not how much weight I lost, but how many days I trained. You don't control the outcome, you control the action. And when you measure action, you can always have victory. You can always celebrate. You can always feel good. That keeps you motivated. Step 2. Establish presence rituals. Not just the 5 minutes in the morning. Create micro pauses throughout the day. Before each meeting, 30 seconds of breathing. Before each meal, 10 seconds of gratitude. Before bed, 2 minutes of reflection. These rituals are anchors. They bring you back to the present whenever you start running towards the future. Step 3. Create a weekly review system instead of daily check-ins. Stop checking metrics every day. Choose a day of the week, Sunday morning for example, and do a review. Look at the week's progress, not the days. This does 2 things. First, it reduces anxiety because you're not constantly checking. Second, it allows you to see real patterns because you have enough data. A day with 0 growth means nothing. A week with 0 growth is a sign, but you only see the week if you stop looking at the day. Step 4. Have a visual circle of control. Draw 3 concentric circles. In the center, write what you control 100%, your actions, your habits, your effort. In the middle circle, what you influence, work results, relationships, health. In the outer circle, what you don't control, finances, competitors, luck. Every time you feel anxious, ask yourself, is this within my circle of control? If it's not, you shouldn't be wasting mental energy on it. Step 5. Practice radical gratitude for the current stage. Every day, once a day, look in the mirror and say out loud, I am exactly where I need to be. It doesn't matter if you believe it, just say it. At first, it will seem like a lie, but your brain doesn't know how to differentiate between a true statement and a repeated statement. After 30 days of saying it, you'll start to believe it. And when you believe you are where you need to be, you stop fighting against the present. Matthew folded the paper and put it in his pocket. These 5 steps, combined with the 3 principles I taught you, Shoshin, Kaizen, Kunosekai, are all you need. It's not complicated, but it's difficult because it goes against everything society has taught you. Society has taught you that you need to be fast. I'm teaching you that you need to be consistent. Chapter 10. 6 months later. 6 months after that first consultation, Matthew was sitting on the same couch with Emily, watching the sunset through the window. The company? It grew 150% in 6 months. But more importantly, it grew sustainably. Happy team, solid processes, loyal customers. His body, 9 kilos lighter, muscle definition showing. But most importantly, he enjoyed training. It wasn't torture, it was pleasure. The relationship? Emily was 3 months pregnant. She looked at him and saw the man she always knew he could be. But what had really changed wasn't in the metrics, it was in how he felt. He no longer woke up at 3 a.m. with his heart racing. He didn't check his cell phone 47 times a day. He didn't panic when his growth slowed down. He had learned something that changed everything. The journey is the destination. He finally understood Wu Wei. It wasn't about doing nothing. It was about doing without despair. It was about working hard, but with lightness. It was about having ambition, but without anxiety. Emily looked at him. "What are you thinking about? How much time I wasted trying to rush through time. And now I'm here, really here. And for the first time in my life, this is enough." She smiled and held his hand. "You know I always knew you'd make it, right?" "Achieve what? For the company to grow?" "No, stop running." That night, before going to sleep, Matthew wrote in his diary, not about the 3 actions of the day. This time he wrote a letter to himself. "Matthew, 6 months ago, you're desperate. You think you're late, that you need to run faster, that if you stop, you'll lose. I'm here to tell you, you're not late. You're going at the right speed, and the rush you feel isn't moving you forward, it's holding you back. Over the next 6 months, you will learn something that will change everything. You will learn that the river reaches the ocean not because it runs, but because it never stops flowing. You will learn Wu Wei, effortless action. You will learn about Ma, the power of empty space. You will learn Shoshin, enjoy the process of learning. You will learn Kaizen, 1% every day instead of 100% in one day. You will learn Ku no Sekai, finding peace in the void. And when you learn all this, you'll look back and be grateful. Not for the results you achieved, but for finally learning to enjoy the journey. His haste was ruining his life. His patience will build his life. With love, Matthew stopped running. There is a fine line between healthy ambition and destructive anxiety. Ambition moves you forward. Anxiety holds you back. Ambition makes you work hard. Anxiety makes you work desperately. Ambition gives you energy. Anxiety drains you. And the difference between the two isn't what you do, it's how you feel while you're doing it. Matthew discovered that he didn't have to choose between success and peace. He could have both, but only when he stopped running towards success and started walking. The results came faster when he slowed down. His body changed when he stopped rushing. The company grew when he stopped forcing things, not because he worked less, because he stopped wasting energy on anxiety. His haste was ruining his life, because haste is not speed. Haste is fear disguised as productivity. And when you replace haste with active patience, working hard without desperation, having goals without unhealthy attachment, aspiring without anxiety, something magical happens. You get faster by slowing down. You get further by stopping running. You achieve more by wishing less. It's the paradox of patience. And it's the only real way to grow. The question remains, are you ready to slow down so you can truly accelerate? Because life isn't a 100-meter sprint, it's a marathon. And marathon runners don't sprint at full speed. They maintain a pace. You can keep running and break down halfway through, or you can find your rhythm and make it to the finish line. But remember, the river is in no hurry, and yet it always reaches the sea. If this video helped you better understand the concepts of haste, anxiety, and patience, tell me in the comments, which area of your life do you most need to slow down in? Work, body, relationships, money. Remember, your haste may be ruining your life, but your patience may save it. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for your attention. You are part of a community that seeks real growth, not fake growth. Until the next video, and remember, hurry slowly.